revolution won't be televised. Government been telling lies. If you're not with us, you better step aside. Witnessing a genocide, everything is centralized. The food that we consume and they spraying it out with pesticides. Easily identify the sheep and the snake, the real and the fake, giving us a reason to pray. I'ma make my own choices, a voice for the voiceless. They trying to destroy us, avoiding the poison. It's all pointless if you don't have a purpose. If you read the verses, you'll know who we versing. Government can't tell you what your worth is. Look deeper than the surface. They don't even want you researching or asking questions. We all being tested. Shh. Shut your mouth and comply, that's the message. Want you depressed on prescriptions that mess with your head. Got you stressing, suppressing expression.
We will not comply with the institutions. Sick illusion, no, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. We will not comply with the institutions. Sick illusion, no, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution.
Keep the money, I would rather have my soul. They want power and control, that's their number one goal. All my friends turn to foes, look how easily they fold. Even Nazis say they were doing what they told. Walking down this road all alone in the cold, but my soul never sold. I'm exposing the clones, God has chosen this role. All of those who oppose want me hopeless and broke, like I'm Noah on boats. I'm just trying to tell them all about the flood. I can feel it in my bones, I can feel it in my blood. Man, I came up out the mud, only God is my judge. I don't listen to these politicians, they the real thugs. Won't comply with the lies, they disguise it in science. They want you compliant, the media's biased. These corporate giants are capitalizing on us by dividing, but I'll keep on fighting.
We will not comply with the institutions. Sick illusion, no, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. They're trying to dumb us down. Don't want us to make a sound. We gotta get out of here now, 'cause it's a revolution. We will not comply with the institutions. Sick illusion, no, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution.
This is it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. This is how we're going to take back our state. The epicenter, Riverside County. The catalyst, you, the parent. No longer will you be silenced. No longer will your voice not count. The government-run school boards in Temecula, Murrieta, Lake Elsinore, and Menifee are about to change. 11 open seats. Strong conservative candidates to fill them. Candidates who won't let the sexual indoctrination continue. Candidates who'll judge people based on the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. Pro-parental rights candidates who are going to put the power back into the hands of you, the parent.
Give it up for your host, Pastor Tim Thompson.
We can leave up for the candidates, that's fine. Yep. Hey, hey, listen. You know what tonight is? Who knows what tonight is? Tonight is Wednesday. Come on. Tonight is the night we begin to take back our state. That's what tonight is. Listen, this night has been a long time coming. For some of you, it's been 2 years coming. And 2 years ago, you woke up to what's going on. For some of you, you've been dealing with this for a long time now. You've seen the sexual indoctrination that's taking place within our schools. You've seen the critical race theory that's taking place. And now you see the kind of control, the mandates they want to put on our families, cutting the parents out of decision making for their children. And so tonight's the night that we as a community say no more. Amen? When it comes to the critical race theory, the parental rights, the mandates, we have a lot to say about it. I want to share a little bit on these issues with you. Let's start with the issue of parental rights.
They don't care what you think. They believe the only time you have any right over your child is when they give it to you. The state empowers the parents? Time to remind them where our rights come from.
Listen, if Virginia taught us anything, the elections in Virginia, and that is that this year, the issue of parental rights is the issue that's going to win elections. We know this. And systemically, they have been systemically removing us out of our children's lives, taking over control and trying to replace parents with the state. And it's unacceptable. The state wants to take your place. I want to take you back in time tonight to when I was a kid. I was a kid just after the civil rights movement had really done some incredible things in this nation. And I was raised up in a generation that was taught to judge people based on the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. Now within our public school systems, they're trying to take us back in time and trying to get us to start looking at the color of skin again. And they say it's not happening. Take a look at this.
They say it's not in their curriculum. They say it's not happening at their school. They're wrong. Here's what one teacher in the Temecula School District says.
He doesn't have much to say, does he? I don't know what's going on there, but I'll tell you this. We can go ahead and just cut that right now. I'll tell you, first of all, understand this. We have had Satan attacking us all day, and I'm sure you can imagine that. But let me tell you what this teacher had to say. He said, essentially what he said was, because he's white, he can argue with the police. But then his black students, his Hispanic students, they can't argue with the police. Why? Because they'll get in an altercation with police. Because the justice system has basically screwed over the black kids and the Mexican kids. And so you got to just keep your mouth shut if police pull you over. And he said, you know what that's called? Privilege. That's absolute privilege. That's what he said. And this is what's going on all around us right now. And we can't have this happen in our public school system. I hear them saying, oh, it's not in our curriculum. But then you hear a teacher teaching the kids these things, trying to teach them white privilege. And then you got to wonder, do they even understand what critical race theory is? I mean, it's obvious they don't know what it is. And they say, well, it's not in our public school system. Yes, it is. It's very clear that it's in there. And now we've got these mandates that are taking place. And you'll wonder why all of a sudden here in our valley, oh, no more masks are required in public schools. Why? Well, we have a little thing called the November elections coming up. And they know they're going to lose their rear ends because they've pushed so hard against the families. Let's take a look at this whole idea of mandates.
The last 2 years have taught us many things. It's taught how easily some Americans willfully give up their freedom. It's taught us how important family time at the dinner table is. And it's taught us that many of America's men need to step up and grow a pair. And one thing it's taught us for sure, most of our elected school board members don't give a rip what we think. So it's time we take back our schools.
Absolutely. We have to take them back. They don't care what you think. So what do we have to do? We have to put people in there that do care what you think. Listen, the last 2 years has brought a lot of things to us. It's brought a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. There's been death, and we know that. Nobody that I know of has ever said that COVID wasn't real. But what we did say is that there was a massive government overreach taking place. Listen, just like Joseph said in Genesis 50, he said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people." I think when we look at it in those terms, what Satan meant for evil, God is now using for good. What Satan meant for evil woke up the church. God allowed us to be awake for such a time as this, because I'll tell you what, if we don't take back our public school system, we will lose the next generation. It's that simple. I want to explain to you just a little bit about the vision for what we're doing tonight, why we're doing what we're doing. In 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2, it says, "Pray for all those who are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and reverence." That means that we, if you're here today, you are of the biblical worldview, a Judeo-Christian mindset. God has called you to pray for the elected officials. And I've been challenging the spiritual leaders in our community to know their role in politics. Their number one role in politics is to be praying for the people that are elected. And the question then is, who are they? Can you even name the 5 members of our school board? And the answer is almost always no. They don't know who these people are. And then you got to ask, well, then how are you praying for them? That is part of the reason we're doing what we're doing tonight. We want you to know who your elected officials are going to be. These ones tonight are who they're going to be, and I want you to know who they are so that way you know how you can be praying for them. I wanted to engage the church for a long time now. A bill came out, AB 329. It's the comprehensive sexuality training, came out several years ago. And basically the curriculum started to change, and it started to infiltrate our valley here. And I started doing all sorts of things to try to bring awareness to this and engage the church in the culture. During that time, I started to really dig in. I found out what our government thinks about us as parents. The Ninth Circuit Court right here in California says, "We agree and hold that there is no fundamental right of parents to be the exclusive provider of information regarding sexual matters to their children, either independent of their right to direct the upbringing and education of their children or encompassed by it. We also hold that parents have," listen to this, "no due process or privacy right to override the determination of public schools as to the information to which their children will be exposed while enrolled as students." They say you have no right as a parent to determine what sexual things your children are exposed to. That is how they feel about you. And you have no due process, no way to override at all what the public school thinks your kids need to learn about sexuality. That is the day and age we're living in. And you might say, well, it's not happening here. It's not happening in Temecula, not happening in Murrieta. Well, I can tell you for sure, unequivocally, it is. In fact, the Murrieta School District wrote a letter directly to me, knowing who I am, knowing that I'm a pastor. And they said that the Murrieta School District will affirmatively recognize, that means there's no diversity of thought. Affirmatively means you cannot say, I don't agree, right? It says, affirmatively recognize and teach students about gender, gender identity, and gender expression. In practice, this means that the above-mentioned criteria must be fused throughout the entirety of our curriculum, which means it's not just going to be in sex ed, they're going to put it in everything. That's what it means. They said the right to opt out does not apply to instruction or materials outside the context of sex education. As such, in the case of gender identity or sexual orientation is discussed outside the context of comprehensive sexual health and HIV education, such as history class, parents do not have a right to have their child opt out of that discussion. They say you don't have a right as the parent. You have no right to determine what your child's exposed to. They say your children have no obligation to attend public school. Listen to this. You don't have to send your kids to the public school, they said, so long as they otherwise comply with compulsory education requirements by selecting a private school or other educational program outside a public school structure. So if you don't like it, tough. Pull your kids out, put them in private school. How many people do you know that can afford private school? Most families can't. We're already paying taxes to put our kids in the public school. And they're saying, you don't like it, pull them. We're going to do it anyways, regardless of what you, the parent, wants. Finally, and I'll close this letter with this. They said, we appreciate your anticipated understanding. They're talking to me, pastor. We appreciate your anticipated understanding and, listen to this, cooperation in assisting the district. They got the wrong guy, I'll tell you that right now. There is no way on God's earth that I'm going to assist them with that. Parents are awake. Parents are going to win. It's that simple. We started doing parent information meetings up and down the state. Any church that would open their doors, which weren't many, but we did them up and down the state, like 20 different meetings, showing people what was going on. We talked about the medical inaccuracies in what's being taught. We brought in curriculum specialists. We brought in pastors. We brought in educators. We brought in all sorts of people, legal experts trying to tell the parents their legal rights. I mean, we were showing the parents what was going on and showing them what they can do about it. All up and down the state, prior to COVID even coming around. And many parents said, it's not happening. Well, those parents are now realizing this truly is happening. But you know what took place as we endeavored to engage the church in the public square? What happened was we'd go to school board meetings and they would tell us, you need to go up to Sacramento. This isn't us. We didn't do this. You got to go to the Board of Education. You got to go to the state Senate. You got to go to the state legislature. They're the ones that did this. We're just doing what we're told. So what do? We go all the way up to Sacramento. I meet with state legislators. I meet with California Board of Education. You know what they told us? It's a local issue. Go back and talk to your school boards. So I come back and I say, hey, I went up there like you told me. They said, go back. It's a local issue. And they said, no, you got to go back up there. I don't know why they told you. And they just send you back and forth like a ping pong ball. And they just keep doing this. And I'm done doing this. We're not good with this anymore. We have to remind them that they're not here. They're not elected to represent the state to us. That's not how a democratic republic works. They're here to represent us to the state. I'm sick and tired of elected officials going, well, you know, the state said. Listen, go tell the state, the people said. That's what they need to do. So we are engaging people back into the public square because, you know, when this nation was founded, the church was the public square. That's all roads led to the church. Everybody got together at church to discuss the things that were happening in their community and to find out what the pastor had to say about those issues. We're taking back that public square. That's what Our Watch is all about. Now, with that, we're going to have to try to elect the right people. Now, Our Watch is a 501c3. 501c3s, according to the government, we're not allowed to raise campaign funds. So we said, okay, fine. We'll just start a PAC. A PAC can raise campaign funds. So I want you to know what the PAC is going to do, and I want to introduce you to it right now.
They'll do whatever it takes to protect our children. They're putting the power over our children back in the hands of the parents. They're uniting to give a massive voice to our conservative teachers. The Inland Empire Family PAC is helping Our Watch with Tim Thompson take back the public square by removing the spineless frauds who currently sit on the school boards across Riverside County and replacing them with strong conservatives. Please welcome the chairman of the Inland Empire Family PAC, John Andrews.
All right, good evening, Patriots. Can you guys hear me? So good to see your smiling faces. This is a big moment here for Our Watch and the Inland Empire Family PAC. Tonight, we introduce you to the conservatives who are going to flip our school boards. This process began several months back after the creation of the PAC. We put the word out that we wanted to speak with applicants, and people responded. There were referrals from parent groups, referrals from teacher groups, people we met at school board meetings and beyond. We searched far and wide for candidates and people stepped up. Our vetting process was simple and thorough. Our interview team was handpicked by Pastor Tim, and it consisted of a school teacher, a political consultant, an activist, and a homeschool parent. They came up with a questionnaire that went to all applicants, and this questionnaire gave insight as to how the candidate felt on all the important issues: mandates, CRT, unions, sex ed, standardized testing, the list goes on. If candidates did well, then they got promoted to the next level, the oral interview. And this was by far my favorite part of the process. We brought candidates in and asked them very pointed questions about their lives, every aspect of their lives. Questions like, who wears the pants in your family? What's your prayer life look like? And are you willing to ask your friends and family for a donation? Are you willing to go door to door? Are you a people pleaser? How do you deal with resentment? Are you willing to be ostracized, criticized, and blacklisted by your peers? Tell me about a time in your life when you went against the grain, and how did that work out? We knew some people were our candidates immediately. Others required a second interview. I tell you this, though. The whole process of our interaction with applicants was inspiring. Watching someone push past fear and raise their hand to get into something they knew very little about was admirable. Our people are not politicians. They are normal folks taking action because it's the right thing to do. It's an awesome thing to see. After the oral board, we researched our applicants, background checks, social media. We tried to be very thorough and make sure they met the criteria. For those who made the cut and earned our endorsement, the PAC offers this. Here's what the PAC is offering our candidates: access to our political consultant for advice and strategy, access to our photographers for marketing purposes, access to our web designers for online content, and access to our printers for signs and flyers. Furthermore, our volunteers will walk neighborhoods, they'll knock on doors, they'll serve at fundraisers, and they'll work phone banks on behalf of our candidates. We're trying to give our people everything they need to run effective, successful campaigns. We're trying to give our people everything they need to beat every weak school board member in the Temecula Valley. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you guys for being here. It means a lot. Our time has arrived. Let's meet our candidates. Please give them a round of applause.
11 open seats. Strong, conservative candidates to fill them. Candidates who won't let the sexual indoctrination continue. Candidates who will judge people based on the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. Pro-parental rights candidates who are going to put the power back into the hands of you, the parents. Who are they? Here to introduce them. Please welcome back up to the stage your host, Pastor Tim Thompson.
All right. Who is ready to meet these candidates? I know you guys are waiting. All right. So we're going to start off with Temecula. I want to invite up first our first candidate tonight. That is a woman who has been married for 24 years. She is running for Temecula Trustee Area 3. She's a mother of 3 kids. She's a cancer warrior. She's a 17-year, married 24 years, 17 years old. That doesn't work. But she's 17-year Temecula Valley resident, a community development and event specialist, and a constitutional conservative. Please welcome our first candidate today, Jen Wiersma. How are you? All right, so we've got another candidate that we're going to bring up with us today, and I'm really excited to introduce him out. I'm so excited. There's so much. All right, so he's Temecula Trustee Area 2. He's a devoted husband. He's a father of 2 kids. He's a parent at TVUSD, the district there in Temecula that he's running for. He's the president and CEO of a construction company. He's the signatory to Ironworkers Local 433 and a youth soccer coach. Please welcome up Danny Gonzalez. All right, Danny. All right. Oh, we have been working tirelessly to get through to tonight, and I'll tell you what, it's like so exciting to finally have you guys up here to be able to introduce you guys out. First, let's start with you, Jen. Let me just ask, who are you? What do you do?
So I'm Jen Wiersma, and I'm an event planner in Temecula Valley, where I've lived for 17 years. I've got the AAA team with Derek. We've been married for 24. No, I'm not 17. But we've been everywhere in Temecula Valley, all of the parks, the Penny Pickle Museum. We've done Little League and softball. We've been a part of this community, all of it. We've done all the schools, the charter. We did private a couple of years. I homeschooled, which was not my kids' favorite time, but we did that. And then for high school, they went back to the traditional program where they were all athletes. And I have been so thankful for the good teachers, administrators, coaches, mentors. They have poured into us, and I am here to give back and serve. And 2 years ago at this time, I was sitting in a chair getting chemo, week after week after week, and looking like Pastor here. So bald head, you know, and
Hey, bald is beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I've been through it. And so I don't know if there's any pink sisters out here, but believe me, when you go through that, you get gritty. And then you develop a warrior spirit. So I'm going to take those 2 things into the boardroom because the children need to be protected, parents need a voice, and I'm a parent, and the board members need to go on holiday. It's time for them to go. We're bringing new perspective in.
All right. So Danny, tell us who you are. You're here tonight. You want people to get to meet you. What are you all about?
Yeah, so I guess my most important job is as a father. I'm a family man. I met my wife, Amanda, back in 2011 in Fort Worth, Texas, waiting out a hurricane at a restaurant that she was working her way through college at. Since that day, she's been my best friend, the love of my life, and my biggest cheerleader through all the things that I've done. Together, we have 2 great kids. You don't get to marry a girl from Texas without some Southern influence in your kids' names, so we're no exception to that. My daughter, Emma Jo, is 9 years old, and our son, Cash, like the singer, not the currency, is 6 years old and just started kindergarten this year. So awesome. Both of our kids attend public school here in Temecula Valley, and so we've had a front row seat for all the stuff that's been going on over the last couple of years that's been troubling. Professionally, I'm CEO of a construction company that I started back in 2015 with a beat-up 2002 Chevy Silverado pickup truck that had no paint left on the hood of it, and a $15,000 personal loan that I was able to get from Teachers Federal Credit Union, of all places. Thank God for my mother, who was a school bus driver for 15 years, because I don't know if anybody else would have given me that opportunity at the time. Today, that company has grown into a multi-million-dollar business on 2 very simple principles. The first one was that I was always going to answer my phone. It became real clear to me that communication was the key to so many things, not only in business, but also in life. That effective communication and remaining accessible to not only employees, but also to my customers and other industry partners. The other main principle that I carried into that was that my employees were going to be my biggest asset. It was that understanding that guided me to become signatory with the local union. When I first started the company from day one as a small business owner, not knowing how I was going to pay for these insane wages. But it was those guiding principles that I've taken through my life that I think make me uniquely qualified to sit on this school board. That empathy, the understanding, and effective communication is what it's really going to take to rebuild these relationships that have been destroyed by these feckless incumbents that we're going to replace in November.
Awesome. So Jen, you saw something. There's a reason you're here tonight. You saw something that was going on, what was your insight?
I think we've seen so many things in the last 2 years, and you covered so much of it. We were in the back going, yes, yes, there's so many things. And I remember watching Virginia, like you mentioned, and seeing a lot of problems in the schools back there, and the parents take it to the school boards. And there was a gentleman running for governor who said parents don't belong in their children's education. So what better to bring out the mama bears than that? You know, everybody, the hair lit on fire, came running at them and basically said, no, we do belong. And I think they turned the tables on the school board. They changed the trajectory of the governor's race. And you saw Governor Youngkin step in and say, day one, we're not going to be wearing masks if you don't want to, and we're not going to teach critical race theory. So I think it's so important to see that principled people make good policy and then children flourish. So that's our goal. There's so many things to look at with choice. We know it's coming down the pike with the vaccine next, right? Every single family who wants an exemption should get one, whether it's religious, whether it's medical, I don't care. I'm going to be on the board fighting for families because we need choice, and that is of the utmost importance.
Yeah. Yeah, Danny, I was talking to you, and we were just talking about your involvement in some of the things you're involved in, and I asked you a question. You said, you know, I want to be the best spiritual leader I can be for my family. And all of us as men say, heck yeah to that. I mean, that's awesome. So you're seeing something in the public school system. You're seeing a reason that God's called you to run. What is it that you're seeing?
How much time do we have? There's been so many things. You know, for me, like I said, I'm a father, so I watched it in my own home. I watched as my daughter struggled after she was kicked out of school at the end of the 2020 school year and missed the whole last semester of public education. And through that process, as a business owner and as a parent, I jumped into the science. I used my very, mild medical training that I received from a medic degree when I was an offshore medic to try and weed through all the noise and find out what the truth was so that I could be, I make the right decisions for my business and for my family. And quickly it became clear.
Bring your.
Oh, sorry about that. Quickly it became clear a few things. The first thing that I noticed was that obviously there was a subset of people that were at really high risk from serious infection from the virus, and young, healthy kids were not in that. And the overreaction to all of these with the mandates and everything, and then keeping the kids out of school for the whole next school year, I watched my own daughter struggle. I watched her struggle with the isolation. I watched her attitude towards us as parents and towards other kids change. I watched her, after returning to in-person education, struggle with those relationships from losing that whole year of her life. Through all of this, we started petitioning the board. We started asking questions. When are these kids going to go back into school? Are they going to go back to school in the next school year? And we got no responses. They stopped talking to us. I started looking into other things. I found all the things that you pointed out. Yeah. I found the critical race theory, and 15 days after the death of George Floyd, they signed a resolution in Temecula Valley reaffirming their commitment to promote equity, right? And we know that equity is this fluffy word that they use, and it essentially means that we're going to dismantle critical race theory and we're going to disseminate it through every part of this educational system. So for me, I've decided that I need to stand up. And I can't do it alone. We're going to need all the parents, we're going to need all the community members and everyone to stand up together and say that this stuff ends now. Yes, amen to that.
So I want to ask you one final, so he just said we can't do it alone. We got to pull together. We're going to do that. What say you as we close up our time together?
So let it be said that 2022 will be the rise of the citizen. And if you have not been called out of California, if you've not been called to lead the state, and I know a lot of us are like, Lord, if we're not called out, then we need to run together and chase the lions, the God-sized dreams and the goals that we can have together, where we call on God to give us the love for our community, the gut and the determination to run to the roar. Because if you're gonna be here, we need you. If we're gonna save America, and I know there's a lot of patriots in this room, it starts with school board. So I'm in. What about you?
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out. I'm going to bring you back out in a second, but I want to introduce out the other Temecula candidates. So give them a round of applause, and I want to introduce some more people to you. All right. So next up tonight, we've got somebody running for Temecula Trustee Area 1. She is a homeschool mom, and I got to say, I like that we have a homeschool mom running for school board. My whole thing of, hey, you want to change my mind? You want me to put my kids back in? Let's change what's going on. So a homeschool mom, a child advocate, a truth defender. She is a 30-year Temecula Valley resident, previous school district employee, a marketing, research, and operations independent contractor. Please welcome to the stage, Caitlin Jones. Caitlin, how are you? Here you go. All right. Let's get our next person up here. I want to introduce somebody who, when I first met him, I was excited to be able to. Just the prospect of having him run, I was really excited. He's running for Temecula Trustee Area 4. He's a devoted husband. He's a father of 2 kids, a former Army Ranger. Come on. Yeah. He's got a doctorate in philosophy. He's a proud disabled veteran, previous 20-year medical profession, a college professor of, listen to this, logic and critical thinking. Please welcome to the stage tonight, Dr. Joseph Komrosky. Okay. All right. Well, let's start with you. We're glad you're here. We've been at school board meetings and in the fight.
Yes.
And so I'm excited. So tell everybody who you are. Why are you here?
So I am Caitlin Jones. I've been living in Temecula Valley for 30 years almost, since 1992. I grew up here. I homeschooled here. I am now a homeschool mom here. My son was in the public school system, and he was disenrolled in 2021 by a health clerk in the Temecula Valley due to my non-compliance to give him 13 years of vaccinations in 2 short weeks. I refused. I created an opposition that allowed her to tell me there was over 700 other students that were in not up to date, and she dropped my son. We got the lucky ticket there. I am a previous school district employee, so I did witness a lot in the school district that would be alarming to parents. There was a 35-pound little girl thrown to the floor and pinned down by a special education teacher. When I addressed this with the principal, she told me that rats in the school district go nowhere. That was very alarming. And then just going to the school board meetings and witnessing the evil was enough. It compelled me to get involved.
Yeah. I've been saying that the government-ran school system is Satan's playground.
Completely.
Yeah, we need to change what's happening there. Dr. Komrosky, when I first met you, you were like, okay, I got to do something, and I'm excited that you're here tonight. Just tell us, who are you? What do you do? If you're a doctor, explain that and tell us why you're here tonight.
I'm just an ordinary guy. My name's Joseph. I'm just like you. I'm a resident of Temecula. I know you're a resident of various cities around here. First and foremost, I'm a devoted husband to my wonderful wife. Just in case we forget, or I forget how many years we've been married, she's looking out for me, and she's got the date on my ring. Hi, Stacy. I'm a proud father. I have a 19-year-old daughter. She's off in college. My 6-year-old son, Kai's right there, taking pictures of me. Hi, buddy. So I followed in my dad's footsteps. I joined the military. I became a ranger like him. I almost died jumping out of planes. God had other plans for me. Wanted me to pursue education. I wonder why. I teach logic and critical thinking. I'm a full-time professor. I teach at Mount San Antonio College in LA County. I am a member of the teachers union there. I've witnessed some interesting things. I teach critical thinking at Cal State San Marcos. We need a lot of this. We really do with our students. I do not teach our students what to think. I teach them how to think. In fact, I try to make them brainwashed and manipulating resistant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked in the medical field for 20 years in nuclear medicine. I left as a radiology supervisor, so I'm very aware of the horrible efficacy that masks, bring about when you put them on kids. I see my kids with masks all day long at Mount SAC. They can't breathe. I can't get them to talk. They're breathing in CO2. They have learning disabilities because they're not concentrating. I mean, all this on and on and on. So I can definitely go toe-to-toe with medical research, and I can analyze, synthesize, and break it down for the common person like me so that you can understand. So basically, I just got sick and tired. I want to get off my couch and fight for the parents and the kids because I see things happening. I'll just leave it at that right now. That's just, I'm a patriot. I love my country. Yeah.
So you had your experience them disenrolling your child, but you've seen much more than that because you're one of those faces. Like anybody who's here tonight who's regularly gone to school board meetings, they've seen you. Yeah. So what have you seen? What's compelling you to be here tonight?
I have traveled to over 4 different counties of different school board meetings in different cities. And what I've witnessed is there's people like you and I, supposed good guys, that call themselves Christians, that call themselves conservative parents, that are grandparents, and are allowing this disgusting indoctrination over our children's precious minds and irrational mandates through. It's disgusting. It's ridiculous. As I've called them out and done research on these school board members, we have infiltrators. It's usually the good-looking young man. We have the older lady that just is the swing vote, and she doesn't do anything. She's sat there for 23 to 46 years. That's wild. And then there's Freemasons, and they do not look human when you call them out, and it's very evil. It is a spiritual battlefield.
Yeah, definitely spiritual. What have you seen? I mean, you're kind of inside, if you will. I mean, you're in the universities. You kind of know what's going on. So what is it that you see?
Great question, Tim. I'll give you 3 snapshots. One, I attend the union meetings once a month for my college, and they tried to sneak by an anti-racist pledge. It was a short paragraph, and it talked about systemically racist policies within the universities that they wanted to do away with in education. I go, oh, this is interesting. Nobody said a word except for me. I said, I'd like to know what these anti-racist policies are, that are these systemically racist issues that we have in our school now, because I'm concerned. What are they? Crickets. And I said, well, if you can't identify what they are, why would I vote in this when it has vague language? And then all of a sudden, a math teacher comes up. She goes, Joseph, we've been following this for many months. This is bringing in CRT. And she said that any right answers that lead to rational discussion, it's a form of white supremacism. That's one snapshot. So anyways, that concerned me. Another one is when the principal of the middle school in Temecula allowed kids to go outside because they didn't have a mask on in the cold weather, they're in the rain. This happened last week. That's when Daddy Bear gets mad and gets off the couch. Mama Bear gets mad, so does Daddy Bear. And my son's not even in public school, but he might be one day. Last snapshot. When teachers at Temecula can tell the kids, if you're a boy and you feel like dressing like a girl, if you're a girl, you're dressing like a boy, I saw an instance of that in my own, with my own eyes in our community, and I don't want my son to be affected by it. So it's affecting our generation, and that's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, let me ask you, so if you could, in 30 seconds, what do you stand for? Why are you running?
First and foremost, I stand on the Word of God. Have you guys had enough? Okay, no. I've had enough too, and I'm on your team. I'm running for Temecula School Board to stand in the gap for the almost 30,000 students that we have in the Temecula Valley. I'm running to represent your voices against everything taking place. We will not allow it to happen, especially backed by the Word of God and together. And then lastly, I'm running for Temecula School Board to keep education what it should be. Education, not indoctrination.
All right. So, Doctor, we got about 40 seconds left. You get 10 seconds more. So, sorry. Tell us. So, what do you stand for? Why should these people vote for you?
I'm with Caitlin. I believe in God. I stand for the virtues of character. And if somebody has character, well-developed character, Philippians 4, Paul says, meditate on these things that are true, noble, pure, good, virtuous. You don't have good character, you don't have virtue. If you do, you'd have courage to stand up and to fight for your kids. Don't be a coward. These board members are cowards. I'm not. But Joseph, you might get attacked when you run. I get attacked by my coffee cup when I'm driving to school, spilling coffee in my lap. I'm ready for that. I think that if Christians stood up and showed courage and asked God to work through them humbly, he will go ahead of you, he will work through you, and the Board of Education, they will crumble like the walls of Jericho.
Amen.
Stand up.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite Jen and Danny back up to the stage, and I want to tell you guys something. In the city of Temecula, in their school board, there are 4 open seats. Here are the 4 people that are going to replace them. Listen, this team right here, they are going to dominate when it comes to November. God bless you guys. I'm so grateful for you. Awesome. Thank you. I'll tell you what, if I was those school board members thinking about running this November, I would be tucking my tail like the cowards they are. All right, so let's talk about Lake Elsinore. I want to invite up another lady tonight and introduce you to her. We're excited because she's got some qualities that I think you guys are going to love. She is running for Lake Elsinore Trustee Area 5. She's a loving wife, a mother of 2 boys. She's a conservative Christian, a firefighter paramedic for 16 years, a 38-year Lake Elsinore resident, a life-saving award recipient in 2016 from Fontana Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome to the stage tonight, Michelle Smith. Michelle, thank you. So glad you're here with us tonight. Yeah. We got one more that we want to bring out right now. This man is running for Lake Elsinore Trustee Area 1. He is a devoted husband, a father, and a grandfather. He's a business owner. He is a doctor of chiropractic since 1997, a spinal cord injury survivor, a 21-year Temecula Valley resident, and Wildemar Citizen of the Year in 2019. Please put your hands together for Dr. Todd Donahoe. Dr. Todd, it is so great to have you up here with us tonight.
Thank you.
I want to start off, Michelle. I want to start off with you. You're a firefighter. That's awesome. Tell us just who you are, what do you do, and why are you here tonight?
Okay. My name's Michelle. I am a wife to my husband Nick. We've been married since 2009. I have 2 boys. They're sitting right there in the audience. Hi. Mason is 10 and Nathan is 7 years old. They're both in the Lake Elsinore School District. Nathan is in 3rd grade, so he has yet to have a real school year. Not one normal year in school. Mason is in 5th grade. I am a 2nd-generation American. My parents came to this country in search of the American dream. I have been a resident of Lake Elsinore for 38 years. I was raised there. I went to public school there. It's my hometown. It's my community. I love it there. That's why me and my husband chose to buy a home there and raise our children there.
And you're a firefighter.
Yes.
So you run into the fire, not away from it. So you're not a coward.
Well, right now I kind of feel a little bit like a coward because I have never done this. This is my first time ever public speaking.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you're doing good. You're doing awesome. Listen, if they wanted some polished politician, they would, this wouldn't be happening. They're happy that you're here tonight, right? Come on. Dr. Todd, I've known you for so long, and I know many people in the community have known you for a long time. Talk to the audience tonight, if you would, just a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you're involved in this community.
Sure. So I am a doctor of chiropractic. I've practiced in Murrieta since 1999. I've been blessed to be able to serve countless families
in this valley, and it's just awesome watching kids grow up. I specialize in pediatric and prenatal care, so I get to work with pregnant patients and I get to work with children. My practice nowadays, since my recovery, is limited to only children from 0 to 4. I get to work with toddlers and babies every single day. And it is a blessing, guys. I tell you, we change lives multiple times every day. It makes me get choked up because the work we do is so special. And it's something that I have been blessed to be able to do for a long time. And not only that, but I've lived in this community since 1999. I've raised 4 children. They have all attended schools within Lake Elsinore Unified School District. I only have 1 left in school, guys. I've graduated 3. They're done with college and their advanced educations. And I have 1 that's a junior. So I'm almost done with the skins in this game, but not really, because I still have thousands of patients, guys. I take care of those kids on and off the field and in and out of the office. And I got grandkids too, 1 that's 5 years old and another one that's on the way. So I am here fighting for you guys, for your children, for my kids. I call them my kids in my practice. And that's not going to stop, guys. So I am here to help you all raise dragon slayers in a time of dragons.
I love that you call them your kids. You know, somebody chastised me once, Pastor Tim, you don't even have kids in the district. Why are you speaking up? I say, how dare you? I've got hundreds of kids in our children's ministry, and I love every single one of them. That's awesome that you refer to them as your kids.
That never goes away.
Amen to that. I want to ask you, so 38 years you've lived here. You've seen a lot, but you've seen something over the last couple years that's drawing you here tonight. What was it that you've seen?
Well, what got me really started in being an advocate is with the unconstitutional mandates with COVID. So that's when I started getting involved with the Recall Newsom campaign. And I started doing a lot of research. And I spent hundreds of hours of my own time on my days off gathering thousands of signatures from people in my local community. When I was doing that, I really got to spend time talking to them and learning the values and their wants and their needs. And then just talking to the parents and them saying that they feel that they are losing their rights. They don't get a choice with their children. They don't have any say in what their children are taught.
So what you're telling me is you actually hit the pavement, knocked on doors, and asked parents what they think. There's a concept.
Yes.
Already. I mean, isn't that what we're asking for as parents? Is like, we want you to care what we think. And here you are caring what people think. I think that's awesome. You're seeing that getting stripped away. I think we're all seeing that. Dr. Todd, you see that all the time. What is it that you're, I mean, obviously, you're a well-respected man in the community, but you're running now. So there's something you see that you're like, okay, I need to do this. What is that?
Well, I've been observing things for many years and fighting this fight alongside you and parents for many, many years. It's a tragedy when we lose the rights to choose medical procedures that our children are going to undergo. When the state starts mandating medical procedures on its citizens, we've crossed a line. And that's what's happening now. And it's not only happening as of SB 277 and the 10 vaccines that are mandated for school entry, but the next one's coming. They're trying to get the COVID vaccine onto the schedule. And we all know that COVID's kind of over and the kids don't need and are in fact harmed by this vaccine. I'm done allowing this kind of thing to happen to the kids in my community. So it's time for me to stand up and say no. There are so many other factors as well, but for me, it's the healthcare related stuff. That's what's driven me for many, many, many years. My job has been to educate parents about the rights that they have to make these decisions for their children and not get steamrolled and pushed around. And it's just gotten worse and worse with the last 2 years of COVID. And so it's time. And one more thing that I'll say is that when I was on my back, quadriplegic and not moving a leg, not wiggling a muscle in my arm or my fingers, wondering if I would ever walk or work again, I prayed to God, and I said, you bring me back, and I'm going to be serving you, Lord. And this is where I am tonight, guys.
So Michelle, we got about 30 seconds for you. You're running for a purpose. There's something driving you. What do you stand for? Why are you doing this? Just in 30 seconds.
I am running because this is a huge opportunity for me. I've been in public service for 20 years. And to be able to serve my local community and fight for, I've been an advocate for my children through school. They have yet to wear a mask at school. They have never worn masks. And I want to be an advocate for everybody else's children. I want my friends to re-enroll their children back in public schools.
Amen. In order to do that, they're going to have to change, though, right? It takes somebody who will run to the fire, not away from it. A lot of these people on school boards have been running away from it for too long. So we're excited that you're here tonight. Dr. Todd, 30 seconds, if you would, just what's driving you? What do you stand for?
Well, I intend to stand up for parents. That's the most important thing. This is what's being neglected, guys, is you've heard it all tonight already. They don't care what you have to say or think about your own children. They don't care. And it's absolutely absurd to think that anybody has influence over our kids except us. We invite teachers into their lives to have a limited input, right? And to teach them something. Reading, writing, math, these are the good things, right? Critical thinking. Thank you, Dr. Komersky. This is what parents need to do, is have input into that. And when school boards are ignoring parents completely and in fact telling them flat out, you have no rights, they've crossed the line. It's time to stand up and say, you are not allowed to do this with our kids. We're going to stand up. We're going to foster these kids to the point where they are full-fledged, armor-covered dragon slayers. We're going to send them into the pit with you guys, so good luck, because we're bringing them up.
Amen. Amen. Well, these are, if you guys would stand up, these are our Lake Elsinore candidates. I'm telling you what, Lake Elsinore better watch out because they're coming to get them. All right. Thank you. All right, I want to talk now about Murrieta. I want to invite out a couple of candidates for you tonight. Our first one is running for Trustee Area 2. She's a loving wife, a mother to 2 children. She's a conservative Christian. She's a 23-year Murrieta Temecula resident, a nurse practitioner, and has been a local RN for 8 years now. Please welcome to the stage, Courtney Cooper. Hey, how are you? Good, so glad you're here with us tonight. We've got one more person we want to introduce up, and this is somebody that many of you have probably seen if you've shown up at school board meetings. He is running for Murrieta Trustee Area 1. He is a devoted husband, a father of 3 children, a conservative Christian man. He, again, is a proud Army veteran. Come on, gotta love that. A 20-year Murrieta resident, and he just so happens to be an economics and history teacher. Welcome up, Nick Pardue. Oh, this is so exciting. You know, because I grew up in Murrieta, you know, all of these school districts, I mean, I care about all this, but Murrieta, for some reason, I'm like, I really want us to win. And I'm telling you, we're going to win all over the place. We're going to win. It's that simple. We're going to win. And you two play a role in that, and I want to just kind of give you guys this opportunity tonight to show who you are. Courtney, if you would, why are you here tonight? Who are you? What are you doing here?
Hello, everyone. My name's Courtney Cooper, and I'm here tonight to fight for you, the parents. I'm running for this position to take care of our children, advocate for our children. I've been serving the community in medicine for the last 10 years, and while I've been at work advocating for your family members and patients, no one has been advocating for my own children. My children have been subjected to everything that you've heard about critical race theory, LGBTQ influence, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the fact that I was misled, that I entrusted the public school to take care of my kids, and I was going to work doing my job, serving the community, but no one was keeping my children safe. And so at this point, I'm taking a step back, and I'm here to fight for you, the parents, and for our children. Amen.
Mr. Pardue, as you're probably known in the classroom.
That's
Nick, as I know you. Who are you? Why are you here tonight? What is it that you do?
Well, I'm a father of 3 and a husband. Feel blessed to have raised my family here in Murrieta. It's an amazing place. This valley is really, really a special place. As a teacher, I teach economics and history. I've been surprised to just see academic standards fall. That was actually the first thing that I really saw. The critical race stuff, critical race theory things you would see in like teacher training stuff for the most part. It's embedded in the school system and it's infuriating. It actually is really problematic in the way that kids interact with the teachers and with each other, especially when it comes to discipline. And that was actually the original reason why I got involved. I actually went to meet with Senator Melendez and talked to her about some of the unsafe conditions that I was seeing on campus. And that got me involved in trying to just see what's happening in local politics, because local politics is where it's at. And we really need everybody to get involved in that fight. You know, it really is important. With Sheriff Bianco and Mike Hestrin, and I mean, these people are really important. That's why I feel like Riverside County is the Texas of California. I'm proud to live here.
Courtney, let me ask you this. You know, we met at a informational rally and town hall. Actually, Dr. Todd Donahoe put this on. And you came to me, you said, hey, look, I see what's going on. I know what's going on. We talked about some of the indoctrination that's taken place and how this is being forced on children. So you've seen this firsthand. You've seen what's going on. What are some of the things you've seen? How is this driving you to be here tonight?
So both of my children attend Thompson Middle School. The principal is Kristen Harris. My daughter accidentally stumbled into a room on a rainy day, and when she looked around, she noticed that it was the gay room, right? So it startled her. Her and her friends left. Now, I'm not against anyone and their sexual preference. This is America. You're free to do what you want. However, it goes against my values and beliefs as a Christian. The role of the school board members is to uphold the values, beliefs, and priorities of the community, of which they are extremely deficient. And so I'm taking on the task to play this role so that we can uphold our core values. And anyone who's lived out here, I grew up out here. My parents moved us here from Riverside, and I grew up in Temecula when it was dirt roads past Butterfield Stage. And I was founded on a faith-based home of God, family, and country. And Murrieta and Temecula are conservative, faith-based communities, and we need to get that core value or those core values back into our schools so that we can continue to produce leaders of the community, because right now we are not. We have very, very weak people leading our kids, and I'm completely fed up with it. And like I said, my children have personally been victims to all of this, and I'm not going to have it anymore.
Yes. So, Nick, being a teacher, you teach history. What kind of history do you teach? Do you teach do you teach real history?
It's kind of ironic. Actually, I've spent the last 10 years teaching economics, and I kind of got apparently told that I teach supply side economics too thoroughly, apparently. And then they just recently gave me U.S. history. So then I got to be able to let the kids know about the Constitution. And so we spend a lot of time talking about the Constitution and what your rights are as individuals and as parents. And it's been kind of surreal teaching history and talking about rights with these kids with their mask over their face where they can't breathe. You have God-given rights. There's a constitutional right to breathe. And it was heartbreaking for me to watch. When he's talking about his kids, I've been teaching for over 25 years. I have kids that have kids, you know, and they, and I just think about how the last 2 years, these kids have lost so many opportunities, and not just in education. Our basketball team at Paloma Valley High School went to the state tournament. They got canceled that day. They didn't get to go play in their championship game. And we knew, first of all, that they were going to win. But second of all, that the kids weren't at any risk, and they lost that opportunity. My son plays football at San Jose State. San Jose State doesn't win very often. But they went to the Mountain West Championship during COVID, and they had to play in front of an empty stadium. And I just thought, this is heartbreaking. For those boys to be able to watch the stadium grow and grow and grow as they won and won and won. And then to cap it off with a big victory against Boise State, and they missed it. And think about all the kids that are sitting in my classroom normally flirting and talking and enjoying their high school experience that we all remember and enjoy. Done. And I can tell you right now, this year in the classroom, these kids are different. They really aren't the same. And they are terrified of cancel culture. They're self-conscious. I hear kids saying, I don't want to take my mask off because I've become accustomed to being able to hide in anonymity behind this mask. And that's really sad. That's really sad. So what we've done to our children, or not what we've done, right? What they've done to our children is criminal. And that's what really has me upset about what's going on.
We're just about out of time. Courtney, tell us just real quickly, if you could, 30 seconds or less, what's driving you?
So Romans 15:1 says that the strong are obligated to uphold or make up for the failings of the weak. And the board members are incredibly weak. They're spineless. They have no core values. They don't care about our kids. They don't even have kids in our school district. So here I am as a mother standing before you. I also have a medical background. I will fight for medical freedom. I will fight to put you back at the center of your education or your children's education. I will hold you accountable for their education and development. Nothing that goes on at these schools will go without your awareness. Right now, I've been a victim of that as well. Here I was going to work, and I didn't know what was going on at school because I was entrusting that they were safe. So I want to make schools a safe haven for our children again. I want you to be able to go to work and know that the district of which I represent, as well as Nick, you know that your children are safe because we are leading. We have the power as board members, and they always did all along, to change everything. They could have lifted the mask mandates. They could have allowed for children to return to class, and they didn't because they didn't care. And so I want us to stand up for what we believe and give these kids the opportunity to learn because it's what they deserve.
Nick Pardue, something's driving you.
Yeah, I was.
Tell us what it is.
Well, you know, and I went to the board meeting and a couple of times, and one of the things that stood out in my mind as they would talk and kick the thing around, and I thought, you know, when I was a young man, I was 18 years old, and I understood what an unconstitutional order was, and that I had an obligation and a duty to defy an unconstitutional order. And I couldn't understand how these 50-somethings in a board would sit there and uphold something so obviously and blatantly unconstitutional and not fight back and not stand for the people they're supposed to represent, which is the parents in our community, us, and to disrespect us the way they did was absolutely just drove me nuts. And I'm going to tell you right now that there's no question, if I could do it at 18, that at 50, I will be fighting for the Constitution and for your rights, and I will stand up and fight for you all the way.
All right, guys, go ahead and stand up. Listen, we got a lot of work to do right here in Murrieta. This is the start of it right here. These are your candidates. All right, thank you so much. Hey, listen, as we continue on in the night, I'm showing you some people who are going to step up, and we can get behind them, and we can help them get elected. They're going to do their part, but we've got to do our part, and it's that simple. I'll tell you this, in order to make sure they get elected, they are going to have to raise money. We need to raise money. It's that simple. The unions are going to fight against these people that you just met tonight, and the unions are very well funded. So we're going to have to raise money, and this is what it looks like.
Now that you know who they are, you need to know what it's going to take to get them elected. It's time to get real. The average cost to run a campaign for a seat on the school board is $50,000. How is a grassroots organization like the Inland Empire Family PAC going to succeed? Put your hands together for Andy Craig.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. You're being here. We are truly grateful for all of your being here and participation. You know, life gets really busy in this day and age, and so with family and friends and work and church, we let our hands slip off the wheel of our civic involvement. The Inland Empire Family PAC is going to help us get our hands back on the wheel and get us back to where our education should be. I have been a school board member. It is a daunting task. It's a 4-year commitment. You have to be there, mentally present, battling back, dealing with issues of public policy, teachers' unions, class, all of the elements that take to run districts, and these are big districts. And these candidates, what we've heard tonight is some of this information has been disturbing, right? Does this not make you scared about what you've heard? In fact, it might even make you angry. Made me angry. I have been a board member, and what I've seen scares me. It takes a lot of money to get these guys from this point to on there to give our voice. That's what we want. Just to do a simple mailer of 10,000 pieces is $7,500. To do 600 yard signs is $600. That's for one candidate. A union candidate member spent in excess of $60,000 to defeat a conservative candidate. We have many candidates, many more to come. This is a long-term battle. We have to win this battle because it all starts with education. Because what is taught now will make our culture of the future. And if we don't do it now, it will be almost impossible to change it then. So, all of you have different blessings in your life. People you know have different blessings in their life. Reach out to them. We need to have everybody involved. Everybody can help, whether it's 25, 50, 100, 1,000, 10,000, whatever it is, whatever those people can do to help get us along the way to bring our school districts back the way they once were back when. Focusing on education and not activism. Making children think they're victims is not education. That's child abuse. This can help us. It takes time. It takes all of us to take whatever we can, bring it. Talk to the candidates, reach out to the PAC. We are here. We are going to get our hands on the wheel, and we are going to take our schools back and make them quality education as they once were. Thank you.
Your donations aren't the only thing it will take to win. Doors need to be knocked on. Phone calls need to be made. Yard signs need to be placed. And consistent pressure needs to be applied to the feckless incumbents. How can you get involved? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the political mastermind, Matthew Dobler.
Good evening, everyone. That's the best introduction I've ever had, so I'm going to take that home with me. Thanks for being here tonight, and let's hear it for these great candidates. Like the voice of God said, my name is Matthew. I'm a political consultant. My job is to help Republicans and conservatives get elected. I'm particularly passionate about school board candidates because I think that's where the real change happens. A little bit about me, I was the political director of the Republican Assembly Caucus, where we picked up Republican seats in Sacramento for the first time in about 15 years. And then I went on, thank you. And then I went on to serve as the political director of the Michigan Republican Party, helping Michigan win, or helping Donald Trump win Michigan in 2016. I have spent a career working with candidates across the state, across the country, and I'm really lucky, I'm really fortunate to work with a great crop of candidates that you saw here tonight. But there's a lot of work to be done. And that's where you guys come in, because there's a lot of things that you guys can do to help get these candidates across the finish line. As Pastor Tim said, as John Andrews said, they started a PAC to come alongside these candidates to support them. The unions support the left. The left have the unions to help them with their campaigns. And so often you see candidates that don't have any kind of institutional support or any structured support. All they have is they're going door to door, they're talking to some folks, but they don't really understand what it takes to run for office. And that's why Pastor Tim and John started this PAC. But as Andy said, it needs money. So open your wallet, open your checkbook to support the PAC, but also get engaged. Go out and talk to these candidates, because there's several things you can do. The first, keep applying pressure at school board meetings. Continue to go to school board meetings and let people know, let the board know that change is coming, that there are candidates out there that believe the way the community believes and is willing to represent them. Continue to talk at school board meetings about the issues, applying that pressure. And when these candidates win that you heard tonight, we need to support them by going to school board meetings and giving them the backup that they need. So that starts now. That starts this week at the next school board meeting. We're going to be doing all sorts of things. It's a grassroots campaign, because I know that we will outwork the incumbent. We will work harder than the left to get our folks elected. And that means going door to door. All of our candidates, I was the political consultant that sat on the interview committee. And my questions were, have you ever gone door to door? Have you ever talked to a voter at the door? Are you willing to do that? And they all said unequivocally yes, which I'm really excited about. But they need folks to go with them. They need folks to make phone calls. They need folks to go door to door and build a coalition of support. So my ask for you tonight is to go out, meet candidates, figure out which candidate you want to support, sign up to be a part of their team, sign up to make phone calls, sign up. The race really gets underway in the summertime, in the late summer, early fall. It's a November election, but they can't do it without you. If you are familiar with politics, and if you live in a suburban area, you can open your door in the fall and see union t-shirts going door to door for Democratic candidates. What we need to combat that is all of you in this audience. We need you to sign up to go door to door and make phone calls for these candidates. So that's why I'm here to encourage you to do that tonight. Go out after this, go ahead and meet some of those candidates, figure out what district you live in, get involved in the one that's in your backyard, because it makes it easier to go door to door, makes it easier to talk to your neighbors, and do that for these guys. With that, thanks for being here.
All right, how many of you are going to leave here tonight with more hope than when you came in? I know I do. This is my first time listening to all of them one after another like that, and I'll tell you, I hear that, and there is hope that is welling up in me. And I think about I just became a grandfather not even 2 months ago, and thank you. I'm very proud of that. I've been waiting to be a grandparent for a long time, and I'm so excited to know that there is hope for the future of the kids in this community. And so we're all going to be a part of this. I really want to encourage you, before you leave, stop by their tables, encourage them. Because I'll tell you what, they're up for the spiritual battle of a lifetime. The people who are currently on the school boards, they are weak. They're not up to the task. They've proven that. These people, they want to fight. We need to fight for them as well. So God bless you. Thank you for being here tonight. And let's go back, take back that public square.
And so, it begins. This has been a production of Our Watch with Tim Thompson. We hope you are encouraged to engage the culture around you. We want to invite you to connect with Pastor Tim by going to the Connect page on ourwatch.com. That's OUR-Watch.com. Until next time, this is all of us at Our Watch, reminding you to be bold, be strong, and to take back the public square.